Malice is a desire to cause pain, injury, or distress to another. In legal terms, malice is the intent without justification, excuse, or reason to commit a wrongful act that will result in harm to another. Express malice is the intent to kill or seriously injure arising from a deliberate, rational mind. On the other hand, implied malice is that which can be inferred from a person's conduct. On the desk today, we have some of that inference. From Ferrum Forge, they bring us Malice. All right, guys, I don't know what the boys over Ferrum Forge meant with the name Malice, but that's what the dictionaries tell me, and take it as you will. I think it's let's just get into it. Whenever we look at this thing, we have a well-finished from We Knife Company, just a well-finished handle. It's slightly textured, softened everywhere except right up through here, where we've got there's actually raised jimping up through there, but it's not terribly rough. We'll talk about it more in a minute. We've got a fairly standard pocket clip that's deep enough and springy enough to work in just about any pants. I have not tried it in something like Riggs Workwear, but the Columbia stuff, the 511 stuff, and even some of the Carhartt stuff that I generally wear works just fine. We have Wee screws because it's a Wee knife, so no question there. Give me just a moment, guys. I was being attacked by my diaphragm. Had to choke it back down. We're in there, in good now, though. Got a backspacer here, and check that backspacer out. They have done a really nice job of having that be almost perfectly clean all the way across, and then raised right through here to give you some very simple jimping or traction. And it's nearly a full-length backspacer. In fact, let's see where that... Yes, it is what I would call a full-length backspacer. Nicely done. Softened everywhere. Polished right there. It's just well done. So, let's flip her open here and do a little bit of size comparison. What do we have up here? Well, we have that's an Artisan Cutlery Falcon. I don't know why I picked that one up, but I did. That is a Sticks. You guys can all correct me because it's probably a Jix. I get the two confused. Here we have an SMF. That's the big one. That's a Micro Praetorian. What else do we have that we can put up here? There we have the prototype malware, but it's the same size as the production malware. And we should probably do a Roxy because, hey, this is my channel. And I can do that. You guys can get mad at me if you want and not watch, but that's okay. Other people will eventually show up, but there you go. That is the size on our Malice. And it's a very common, very good... Well, let's just get a look at the specs. And I'm going to use Wee specs because they generally do a good job. I don't have too much fuss with them. We have a blade length of 3.45, so just under 3.5 inches. Makes it even legal in those places where 3.5 is a little edgy. Have 4mm or 160 thousandths blade stock. Very nice. We've got a flat ground blade with a handle length of 4.7 inches. Once again, I do not have my calipers or my measuring stick up here, so you're just gonna have to use my medium large hand as a gauge for this, or we can... This is something I did the other day. That is a 4-inch blade, so you're at about 3.8 or so for total grip length. Very good there. And I do really like the blade. They have done a heck of a job with the finish on the blade. Look at this. That is something I have asked We Knife Company to do for quite a while. That is a beautiful, beautiful, slightly polished belt finish with a satin on the flats, and then a machine finish in there on those little, beams or whatever you want to call them. That is beautiful. And that's the thing that attracts me the most to this knife, is how they finish the blade. I've been asking We Knife Company to do that finish for quite a while, and it's finally materializing, and I am just so happy to see it. Now, let's talk about ergonomics, I guess. Mechanics, it's all we. Titanium screws, ceramic ball bearings, blah, 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 blah. It works just exactly like it's supposed to. Blade is perfectly centered. I forget to do these things whenever we talk about knives anymore. It's not like whenever I started doing this, boys and girls. Just about every knife company has centered up knives, perfectly done, and it is a rarity to pick up a knife that's not right unless it comes from one of the older companies. But not here. Everything is the way it should be. Ergonomically, guys, it's a Ferrum forged knife, and this thing does, for better or worse, suffer from one complaint that I have heard from several individuals. It doesn't do much to separate itself from the other Ferrum forged knives. Okay, so let's talk about that for just a moment. There's a reason that Ferrum forged knives are shaped the way they're shaped. There's a reason that they have blades on them the way they do. The boys over Ferrum Forge, one, have found a general shape that fits the majority of hands very, very well. And they go from knife to knife, they tweak on that shape some, and come up with a different design. The blade, yeah, it's a lot like many other Ferrum Forge blades. Once again, though, they've settled on a very good utilitarian drop point, and with each different model, they do some changing on however the blade is, either something on the blade, whether it's the grind, whether it's a hole in the blade, or how the hole in the blade's done, or, various other little things. And I'm going to kind of split the difference with you. If you have some high-end Ferrum forged knives, some of the stuff from prior to mass drop, or some of the other stuff that has happened since the mass drop thing, where they're selling, I forget which models, but selling some of the models on their own. This is in there with those. It's above the mass drop knives. It's in there with those that they've been selling on their own. And those that they're selling on their own are We knives as well. This just, I don't know, there's a level of refinement here that I haven't seen before with any of the Ferrum forged knives. And whenever I say refinement, I'm not talking about they did the mechanics better, or they did the this better, or the that better. The refinement here is the difference between, what do we got here on the desk? Be great if I could use one of my designs I was involved in. Yeah. This. The Roxy is a highly refined knife. However, this is not the knife that you carry whenever you're going to see, the opera or whatever. Not that they would let you in with a knife, but this is not what you carry whenever you're going to those slightly more upscale outings. Or maybe you do. I do, but they know who I am and they know what I do. So this is that level of refinement, though. This is Ferrum Forge in a tuxedo. This is the guys over there dressed to the nines with a little bit of flair. And that, I think, is what makes the Malice something special. If it wasn't for that, if they hadn't smoothed and done all the minor details, I think the Malice would have just been another Ferrum forged knife, and, it would have sold okay, but It wouldn't have been anything to get excited about. But this one, in my opinion, is one that if you like Ferrum Forged knives, you need to get in your hands and experience it because it's a little different. It's the same, but a little different. And I've carried it for a few days and I like it. Now, here's the thing. I don't have an exact price on this, but I'm guessing that it's 200 plus. In fact, I know it's 200 plus. And a lot of you are saying, well, I can get the mass drop version. Okay, one, there isn't a mass drop version of this. But you're saying I can get the Falcon or one of the other ones. Friends, if you get the opportunity to put one of these in your hands and put one of the mass drop knives in your hands, you will understand that there's a major difference. It is a lot bigger than you might think. However, the mass drop knife is a great knife. This is refinement. This is putting on the tuxedo, dressing to the nines, and getting every little speck right. And that's what Ferrum Forge and We Knife Company have done. I like it. I hope you guys like it. It almost feels too fancy for me to carry. Have a great day, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you next time.